Hello, I'm Tom Bailey, and in today's episode, I'll be getting to know Liam Austin, who is the co-founder of Entrepreneurs HQ and a virtual event strategist, having launched over 15 virtual summits, having 400 speakers, and educating 100,000 plus business owners through his programs. So, Liam, hello, and a very warm welcome to today's episode.
Yeah, cheers, Tom. Thanks for inviting me on.
No, I really appreciate you being here. And out of interest for, I guess, me and our listeners, whereabouts in the world are you right now?
I'm in Sweden right now, but I'm Australian. And fun little fact here, but the local weatherman that I grew up with in Australia, in Sydney, he was super famous, like super cool kind of surfer guy.
Yeah.
His name's Tim Bailey. So, you've got some similarities there.
Maybe a distant relation. We'll have to look into that. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I just want to share a little bit more about you before we get started. So Liam is also the creator of the $1 Million Virtual Summit program and his 6-week implementation program called Virtual Events That Sell makes it easy for you to create your own high impact virtual events, from workshops and masterminds to summits and conferences, with the end goal of selling more of your high ticket offer. The title for today's episode is How to Run 90-Minute Virtual Workshops That Fill Your Courses and Programs. And Liam's going to show us how to do these in just 7 minutes. So question number 1 today is, who are your typical ideal clients?
So anyone who wants to be known as the go-to expert in their niche, or the authority and have credibility with their own email list, their audience. So typically we look at our clients being speakers, authors, podcast hosts, anyone who, really wants to have more authority with their potential clients.
Great. Love it. Nice and concise. And before your clients work with you, what would you say is typically the biggest challenge that they face?
Not enough exposure, authority. So maybe there's not a big enough email list or audience. So typically we work to address that. How do we get in front and reach a much more larger audience, gain more exposure, gain a know, like, and trust factor with that audience, so they want to do business with us, essentially. And then it's like, well, okay, I like this person. I've got a bit of trust there, but like, are they the right person for me? Do they have the authority? Do I see them as the go-to expert? And that's essentially what we like to do. We like to make sure we address all of that. So it becomes much easier once you have that conversation about bringing someone on board into your courses and programs. It feels like a natural conversation to have.
Great. I love it. And I guess for those people that don't have enough of an email list or enough of an audience or impact, what impact might this have on either them or their business as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, sure. So more traffic, more leads, more exposure just means more clients, more revenue at the back end. And typically, I mean, we run events, as you know, Tom's introduction shared, but we've been running events, virtual events, since 2015. I've had over 20,000 people attend just one of these events. But it's really big spikes in email list and audience. And then once the event's over, it disappears. So we put a big focus on, well, if we run an event once, whether it's, a workshop or a summit, we want to make sure it's recorded. And if the funnel's all built, like the system, the tech, the emails, the copy, the sales pages are all built, we want to turn that evergreen and sell it as like a mini course, essentially, so that we can get predictable traffic, predictable and consistent flow of leads coming in that we can turn into clients, and then a predictable income and revenue stream for the business.
Nice. I love it. And I guess this predictability and consistency in terms of, revenue and prospecting is so important for these business owners. So what would you say is one piece of valuable advice that you might give to somebody who's thinking about starting in this space?
Yeah, sometimes a lot of people I speak to are maybe nervous about getting on camera, especially pre-COVID, where everyone was like, oh, I'd rather meet in person. I'm a, better in person type of person. But confidence on camera, if you're natural and just yourself and you're authentic about it, it does become very easy once you just take that leap to do your first speaking engagement or host a Q&A or just interview someone. It can be as simple as that. And the best advice is just jump up and do your first interview. And it might be with someone that's an existing colleague, client, but someone that you feel comfortable with. So that first conversation, that first interview, presentation that you host, the first event that you host, doesn't feel as such a big leap. It can be something small like our 90-minute workshops where maybe it's just you teaching, and you teach on something that you know inside and out, you feel really familiar with. You know, whenever you teach someone this thing, whether it's a tactic or a strategy or a tool or a technique, they always it's like an aha moment for them. They're like so thankful, or they look back and they're like, that moment in time where you taught that one thing was amazing. So it should be something that's very simple for you to teach. Teach it just in 90 minutes. It's something you know really well. So it should be very easy for you to present this. Don't need much time preparing. And you spend, say, a week actually filling the room. So marketing the event. And that's where really you focus on marketing the event to teach this thing that you know really well. And it maybe you get half a dozen or a dozen or a few dozen people there. Awesome, great. You get that first one under your belt and you see those aha moments your attendees get from the event. Gives you that confidence to do it again and again.
Great. Yeah, I love it. And I love that point you made about starting small, because I always say that confidence comes from competence. So if you can just get that first one under your belt, the next one will get a lot easier and you just build from there. So the next question from me then is, based on all of this, if somebody's listening and they're starting to think, maybe I could get involved with all of this, what's that one resource that you want to offer to people to help them get started?
Yeah, sure. So I love step-by-step processes and systems. So I thought a checklist would be great to actually create and run your very first 90-minute workshop. So very, very simple to create. You're creating and teaching something that you know really, really well. It's just about really marketing it. But how do we pull it all together? So it's our virtual workshop checklist, and it's literally every step, every little thing you need to do to run your very first successful workshop in just 90 minutes that will help you identify and build those relationships with your prospects to enroll more people, clients into your courses and programs.
Great, love it. And where can people get hold of that?
Yeah, go to quickworkshopwin.com. You can just download it there, enter in your name and email, and you'll be able to grab that checklist, as well as it's like a 9-page PDF with we go into real detail. So it's not just like something download like a sheet of one pager. It's like 7 pages, I think. Don't quote me on that, but there's a lot of information in there, just giving you details about how to run that yourself.
Great, thanks for that. What I'll do is I'll put that link in the show notes as well, quickworkshopwin.com, and people can download that today. So next question for me is, obviously you've been in this game for a little while now. What would you say is one of your greatest either mistakes or learnings that you've made along the way?
Yeah, sure. So I started working in a startup in Sydney in the year 2000.
Yeah.
Right. So 21 years ago. And ever since then, I've been hooked. Like, this was a business that was having a huge impact on the world. I was in the dating niche, so I was matching people. People were getting married, and we were inviting to their weddings. It was amazing impact we're having on the world. And ever since then, I just was trying to figure out the right business that I could have as big an impact as that. Yeah. And when I ran my first summit, that really changed everything for me in 2015. And it took me, from 2002-3 to 2015 to really have an impact, to grow a business, to make money online, to have this predictable income machine working in my business for me, so I don't have to work so much, right? Freeing up my time. And so the biggest mistake was just like trying to figure this all out and making mistake after mistake after mistake, and just realizing the one thing you really need to launch a business. And I mean, there's plenty of other things, I'm sure, but the only thing that really worked for me, and I've seen work for hundreds of our clients, is running your own either virtual summit or virtual workshop, because it just really announces you to the world, builds your authority, builds your email list, and helps you enroll more clients.
I love it. Sounds like a no-brainer. So everybody listening, get involved, look up Liam online and download that checklist. And yeah, I'm sure this will have a big impact in your business too. So Liam, thank you so much again for your time today. I really appreciate you coming along and adding such great value to our audience.
Champion, thanks very much for inviting me, Tim. Tom.